So today is going to be a really short video. It's just going to be 3 more tips that you could add to your repertoire to help up your frugality game and use minimalism as a tool to help you along in your wealth journey. Hey there, my handsome and pretty little Cobras, and welcome back to the Cobras nest. For those of you who are new, my name is Mignon Cobra and I make minimalism videos. Today's minimalism video is going to be Minimalism for the Broke, Part 2. So without further ado, let's just get into the video. Let's get it, let's go! Woo! As usual, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. If you wish to help out my channel, consider checking out my Patreon, and then if not, then just help this video out by giving me a thumbs up, a like, and a subscribe. So the reason that I'm making this video is because I've actually made part 1, Minimalism for the Broke, and that video did really well, and I think you guys really enjoyed it. I think it's really fun to kind of like use minimalism as a tool to help you along in your financial journey. So today is going to be a really short video. It's just going to be 3 more tips that you could add to your repertoire to help up your frugality game and use minimalism as a tool to help you along in your wealth journey. Let's get right into the list. Number 1, brands. I don't want to talk too much about this because I have definitely harped on this a lot in my previous channels, but that's actually the purpose of why I'm wearing this sweater. If you've been a long-time follower, you will know that this sweater used to have the massive logo from TNA on it. This is what the original logo looked like, and you can still see it from here on the hood. It's stitched on, and I actually took a couple days to unstitch the giant print off of it because somewhere in my minimalism journey, I decided that I no longer wanted to associate my worth with brand names or letting brand names dictate my value. That's just like a personal choice. I'm not here to harp on anybody who, feels like I want to have this brand and I want to have that brand. This is not saying you can't have brand name stuff. I mean, like, this is brand name and it makes me happy. It's why I sell. But what I'm trying to say is that if you want to up your minimalism game, I think that things look very beautiful and minimal and aesthetic and will definitely be light on the wallet is buying things that don't have brands on them. Things that usually don't have brands on them are a lot cheaper because primarily the things that you are paying for when you buy something that's branded is you're paying for the name. You're paying for that uptick that comes with between a white tee and a branded tee that's like from the same company is the creative licensing that comes with the brand. So I think that another way to think about it is that you are not a less worthy individual or you have less value just because you drive, say, a cheaper brand over another brand. I think at the core of it is just kind of disassociating your identity from brands. There's no other way around it. I mean, you're going to continue to lust after material things, even though you tell yourself you can't have it, if you haven't made that jump to realize that you are worthwhile all by yourself. And once I made that jump, it was a lot easier for me to remove branding from my clothes because I decided not only do I like the aesthetic of not having brands on my stuff, but I felt a lot more freer now realizing that like I don't have to show my worth to others via my material possessions. All right, number 2, a smaller home. I'm not going to get into this one like too in depth, but just like if we look at it from a perspective of not say the resale value of the home, but just like the initial purchasing of the home, smaller homes are more affordable than a larger home. And then you can go into the whole minimalistic aspect of it. A smaller home is easier to maintain. You have less stuff, so you don't need as much space. Smaller homes keep people more physically together, like there's more proximity, so people are interacting with one another, there's less loneliness. Those are all the positives of if you're just considering minimalism in terms of like a practical level. I myself in the future will most likely consider buying a smaller home that's easier to maintain and is easier on my wallet and a lighter mortgage than say a larger home. Resale value, I mean, if in the future I ever get to a place where I can get a second home, then yeah, I might buy a more expensive home for the resale value because I'm not living in it and I'm going to house hack it. But the point that I'm trying to say is that consider a smaller home if you want to help lighten the burden on yourself in terms of just financial and just make your life easier with minimalism. That is just like another hack. Although maybe if you're broke, buying a home might not be at the top of your priority, but if it is, that's just a tip that I wanted to implement. That's not something that I had discussed in my previous video, part 1, Minimalism for the Broke. And lastly is number 3, less snacks and less junk. I have been quite surprised at how surprised people are to know my food bill. I make no effort to hide it. I have talked about this on my channel. People have asked me how much do I eat, like how much do I spend to eat, and as somebody who's very diligent with their spendings, I spend about $30 a week on groceries. The reason for this is not because I'm starving myself. I mean, yes, I do intermittent fast, so I probably do consume less calories than most people, but primarily I don't have a lot of food waste, and I don't buy a lot of snacks and junk, like unnecessary products that sometimes bulk up the food bill. This is actually a trick that I picked up from Mr. Money Stash. He was saying that, like, not that you can't eat bread or don't, eat cookies, but he's saying, like, why would you do that to yourself? Like, why would you give yourself unnecessary calories and pay for it? Like, if you're gonna go to a friend's house, eat the cookies at the friend's house. If you go out to like brunch, eat bread there, but don't pay for it yourself. It's like, what's the word that he said? It's like, just don't do it to yourself or something like that. But the point that I'm trying to say is that if you want to consider another minimalistic aspect from a broke perspective or from a frugal perspective, is to just use your money for buying the necessary food items that you need. So buying your vegetables, buying your meats, buying milk, buying whatever it is in your dietary thing, but then cutting out snacks and junk. Eating them less frequently also give you a more minimalistic way of eating, because you're eating more like healthily, more minimally, and it's just easier on the wallet. I'm not here saying you can't eat them. Like, I've never been an advocate for the extremes. Extremes are never healthy, but something to implement is probably just like less snacks. That will definitely help cut down your food bill. And okay, so there we have it. 3 more tips for minimalism for the broke. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks for watching. Bye!